You done? Ready when you are.
I first sat on a motorbike when I was 7 years old, a friend's little mini bike, and at a birthday party, and I absolutely loved it. It was real natural and clearly had a passion for motorcycles. I was halfway through Year 10 at high school and I passed the entrance exam to join the Australian Navy to do marine engineering. I had a motorcycle accident when I was 15, hit a tree, I had concussion, and after going to the GP, you noticed, looking into my eyes, noticed some pigment in the back of the eyes and the retinas, and yeah, after a series of tests I was diagnosed with the eye condition of retinitis pigmentosa. It's a degenerative eye condition. When my eyesight did start to deteriorate from the outside in, because it shrinks gradually, tunnel vision, and eventually it goes. One day I just decided to tear up my rider's licence and driver's licence, and that had a huge impact on my life because I lost my job after that. I lost my relationship, and yeah, I became a pretty frustrated and an angry guy, you know. And one night I was working on the computer, you know, writing up a newsletter, and you know, my left eye was a bit watery, and thought, oh, it's time to go to bed. And I woke up the next morning and totally black in my left eye at 32. And when I still had vision in my right eye, but you know, 2 or 3 degrees. And as it deteriorated, I can remember a similar thing. I went to bed, and the next morning I woke up and I heard these birds chirping at my window, and I went, oh wow, it must be morning, time to get up then. So I've opened up the curtains, looked outside, and I went, oh wow, it's still dark. Oh well, I closed the curtains and I lay back in bed again. Then I heard the birds chirping, and I thought, hang on a minute. And then I opened the curtain, I stood there at the window looking outside, and I could start to feel the warmth of the sun on my face, but it was just completely black. You know, I just had a moment there of tremendous sadness, and it just hit me like a train, that, oh, it's finally happened. And then a couple of minutes later, and this is really weird, but it was just like a sense of relief. Yep, it's finally happened. That was the first time since I was 15 that I knew that I had some stability in my life.
Well, an unbelievable introduction to an unbelievable guest. You lost your eyesight in your late 30s. What were you doing up until this point? Give us a bit of an insight there.
Excellent, Alex, and I hope you enjoyed that epic footage. I grew up in the Blue Mountains, the beautiful Blue Mountains west of Sydney. Started riding motorcycles when I was 6 years old. And when I was about halfway through Year 10, I was riding a motorbike at night time, without a headlight, of course, down a fire trail. And I went under a canopy of trees, and it blocked out the moonlight. And I couldn't see where I was going. And I ran off the fire trail, and I hit a tree, had a broken nose. And the next day I went home and I saw my mum, and she said, because I had a headache, and she said, let's go to the doctors. So after I got referred to Sydney Eye Hospital, and after doing a series of tests, I was diagnosed with an eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa. Specialist at the time told me that I was going to go blind. It could happen next week, next month, or much later in life. They couldn't tell me.
Wow. So you had quite a long build up, or, you know, denial phase, and then you become blind completely. it must be just a crazy feeling to feel the sun on your face without being able to see it. Was there a moment of realization, or was there more of a build up to a realization? I've got to dig deep now. I've got to find a strength that I don't know I've got. I don't know if I've got it. And I've got to actually turn this unthinkable event into a remarkable life. I mean, what was the moment, or was there a process? Run us through that.
At the lowest point, it was like a light switch. And I thought, why am I so angry? Why am I out of control? And I was just completely out of control. I had no future, no destiny. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. My future prospects were bleak, and I thought my career prospects were threading beads and weaving cane baskets. And so it was the light switch moment. And I thought, Ben, why are you so angry with the world? Why? You can't live like this anymore. And then I sat back and I thought about it. I thought, you know what? Why? The reason why I feel like this is because I don't have a sense of place in the world, or a sense of community. I don't have a sense of purpose. So I made a decision. I thought, well, I can't change the world, but I can make a positive difference.
Living a very colourful life, if you will, a very busy life, wondering how you fit it all in. And then you get to about 37 and you find yourself completely blind. At some point, you decide, I love motorbikes. I'm going to become the fastest blind man to ever ride a motorcycle.
And I thought, you know what, Ben? What was my childhood dream? And my childhood dream from the age of 6 years old was to race motorcycles at the highest level. And I thought to myself, Ben, you idiot, you can't do that. You're blind. And after a couple of more rum and guava juices, I came to the conclusion that I knew how to ride a bike. My problem was I didn't know how to, I had to come up with a solution, how to navigate a motorcycle and where I was going to do it. So when I got home from the West Indies, first thing I did was I Googled blind land speed record, and bingo. That's when I started on my journey.
How many people tried to talk you out of this? Really?
Not that many, actually. So would you believe it, Alex? My mum lent me the money to buy my motorcycle when I'm totally blind. I'm just blessed and so grateful that so many people have supported me on my journey.
Yeah.
And to race motorcycles is just the greatest gift I could ever have.
You're a legend. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but you actually engaged a mentor, and he's become your mentor to help you beat his goal.
I've always surrounded myself with mentors.
Wow.
Anyway, so when I got home from Barbados and I Googled blind land speed record, Mike Newman from England comes up. So I reached out to Mike Newman, sent him an email, had a couple of conversations, and I asked Mike, would he be my mentor? He did. And then he told me all the secrets and gave me all the information I needed to start on my journey. And you know what? I beat he was the first guy to get the motorcycle land speed record about 35 years ago. Let's
talk about being on the bike. How do you trust yourself and also, I guess, Magoo, as you call him, as your probably what sounds like your critical team member? How do you get to this trust?
If anything happens, he's the guy that's going to be responsible, who I trust implicitly.
Yes.
They are the best at what they do. And if you want to achieve or aspire to achieve excellence, you must surround yourself with the best people. So he had to have confidence in me. I had to trust Kevin with my life. So it's about building a quality relationship, spending time with each other. It's getting to know each other. It's working together. I was trained really hard. I was really fit. Did a lot of bike riding. I did a lot of gym work specific to the muscles I needed on the motorcycle. I steer the bike with my feet, not my hands. Oh. So a lot of practice, a lot of talking, quite a few bottles of red wine with Magoo on solving these problems.
Critical, obviously.
That's right. But it was about building a relationship with Magoo. It was getting to know him. At the end of the day, we're on a mission to achieve a goal, and we're committed to it.
So when you're saying you're just focusing on executing the plan, is that to just keep fear at bay?
Yes. Yep. So this is how I control my emotions, right? Because, what stops us from doing things is an emotional response.
Yeah.
I can't have fear in my mind. I can't be scared. I can't be nervous. I can't be anxious. I can't allow, and this is natural, I can't allow my body to be influenced by any of those emotional thoughts or negative thoughts whatsoever. What's the secret to success? All the things I just said: focus, teamwork,
Yes,
expert advice, mentors, all of that stuff, having the right team. But the most important thing, it's up to you, and it's got to do with your attitude. So on our journey of life, as there's an old Chinese proverb says, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So it's taking that first step. But on our journey of life, there are times where you have a high road and a low road, and you've got to stand there and scratch your head and say, well, do I go the high road or the low road? Well, that's when I talk to my mentors.
there's a funny saying. My dad's really big on mentors, and one of his mentors always used to say, in a bit of a joking manner, but in a great manner, the impossible we will do right away. Miracles, well, they take a little bit longer.
I love it.
But as if to say, no, we'll figure it out. We can perform the miracle. We're just going to take a little bit longer. We're going to have to do some planning and some preparation, as you say. I guess in our life, we're all going to face different adversities, and we're going to have to overcome them, whether we think we can or not. So sort of as you're imparting words to us, how can we, in summary, and you've talked about it, but in summary, how can we overcome these adversities, or at least have the mindset to overcome them?
You need to have belief in yourself. Reflecting is really important because, every time, whether I fail at something or whether I achieve at something, I always reflect, because reflecting is really important. I was thinking, how can I do that better? How can I improve? Where did I make mistakes? So I'm critical on myself, and our team is critical on each other. It's essential because we need to be held to account. We need to constantly improve. I have a philosophy of lifelong learning. So I'm constantly applying myself, reflecting on the past, looking forward to the future, and thinking, how can I constantly improve? How can I do it better next time? You need to have a goal, because the goal gives you direction. And from there, you define your mission. You understand your purpose in life. So I went through a lifelong learning to understand my purpose, my mission. I clearly define my goals, and then I don't take no for an answer, right?
He who has no goal has no direction. You've smashed your goal out of the park, and obviously you've got other goals along the way, like you're talking about, inspiring others, sharing your story. But do you have another big audacious goal that is one of your key drivers today?
Well, I've made a recent decision a little while ago, Alex, and so I'm now going to challenge the Guinness World Record for the fastest speed for a car.
Wow.
And it's electric powered, and Electroliner has set its class record at 383 kilometres per hour. And they tell me that the car is capable of doing in excess of 450 kilometres per hour.
Ben, you are an absolute legend. I've enjoyed getting to know you so much. And I think I'm going to leave this and conquer the world this afternoon. So I think I'm ready to conquer the world after our discussion. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And I look forward to having you back when you've broken another record and or gone just spine-tingling speeds in an electric vehicle later on in the year in the US of A. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, Alex, I'm a man on a mission. I'm super excited just thinking about October and racing this car, but I'd love to come back and share my experience with you and the custodians and everyone. So thanks, Alex, for the opportunity to have a discussion with you and to be able to share my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.